What's a first date tip that could save you a lot of embarrassment? Always use the restroom before you leave. There was an episode of 911 where they tackled this. Essentially, this couple matched on a dating service and agreed to go out. The girl, however, didn't follow that rule and wound up having to go to bathroom when they got back to his place. So she does her thing, right, but the toilet ends up being clogged and it overflows. To save herself some embarrassment, she tries to wrap up her crap in a towel with the intention of throwing it out the window. But the window is too high. So she climbs up and gets herself stuck dangling out of the window with her wrapped up poo sitting there on the edge beneath the window. Her date has to call 911 to get her out of there. Excuse me, gotta do the do has never backfired. The thing is that if you're too embarrassed to tell your date that you need to go to the bathroom, imagine how humiliating it would be when your girl is on the bed and you let one rip in the bathroom 10 feet away. Pro tip, don't date stuck-up bitches, or asshole dudes. Deadass, it makes the whole process a lot easier if you go for a normal human being who also experiences bowel movements. Kim Jong-un is the only person on earth that doesn't poop. I would recommend to not go for a dinner date or a movie date for the first date. Both are better suited for later dates. Both of them have issues like who pays for the dinner/tickets, and there is no easy escape if the date is not going well. My go-to option is to just go for a coffee/tea in a nice cafe. Coffee and tea are not that expensive, so it really doesn't matter who pays, and they also provide a good atmosphere to just talk to your date. Pro tip are interesting cafes like the cat cafes that exist in some cities. It is a regular cafe but with cats. If the date doesn't go well, you can still play with some cats. I'm an animal lover for sure. I lavish attention on the cats to the point my date would suspect I'm a cat guy and live in a feces-filled trash pit with dozens of cats. I'm that guy who can't make it through a PetSmart without asking every dog owner if I can pet their dog, and who has trouble passing the animals up for adoption without checking in with them all. The pandemic resulting in curbside pickup only has saved me a lot of time when getting dog food. Carrot this. If the date is going well, after you're done with your coffee and pastry, you can suggest going for a walk or hanging out longer somewhere else. If it's going really well, you can turn that date into dinner and drinks as well. And if it isn't going well, when you're both done with your drinks and pastry, make up some evening plans that you have to get ready for and part on a more organic note. This is exactly how me and my fiance's first date went. He asked if he could take me out for coffee. We went to a park afterward and walked around. Luckily we clicked immediately and ended up hanging out all day and night into the next day. We never ran out of things to talk about, and it's still that way. We've been looking at houses. Edit, removed a word. Who pays? This is what caused me to go red at my first date, and ever since the few I've been on, I make it clear to talk about who pays before we go anywhere. We had gone to a carnival and I had brought my own cash because I believe in equal pay unless he insists or it's long term and we pay for each other occasionally and such. But the way he talked when we got there made me think he was paying for me, so I just stood there as he bought his tickets and then went red when I asked him how much because I wanted to pay him half back, and he just responded with a casual "Oh, it was only _ you should get in line to get yours before it get too long though." I had to stand in line to get mine and mentally beat myself up over assuming that. We were only in high school, and like I said, I had my own cash, so it wasn't a big deal. But I was so embarrassed. I used to go bowling. You can go with 5-pin with the bumpers up if you want. It's inexpensive, it's moderately fun, and most importantly you can choose how much you talk without awkward silences to fill. Make sure that you have enough money to pay for the entire date. I think that splitting the tab for food/drinks on the first date is pretty normal, but it always helps to be prepared, especially if you are the one who asked the other person out. Also, be punctual. Another person has agreed to spend a chunk of their free time with you, so that needs to be appreciated and respected. And don't get fucking lit up on shots, reach a level beyond bust, or order any drink that has the word bomb anywhere in the name. If you're a man who feels societal obligation to pay on the first date, actually listen to what your date is telling you. I much prefer paying for myself, especially that early on in a relationship, but I've occasionally been up against guys who feel the need to pay even though I was clearly very uncomfortable with it and I knew neither of them were particularly financially better off than me anyway. Past the point of me offering to be polite, it was quite clear I genuinely wanted to pay for myself and that was what they wanted too. They just felt pressure to keep up appearances. We ended up agreeing that he would pay in the restaurant and I would transfer him the money. This has happened multiple times to me. It made it pretty clear that they were much more interested in appearing gentlemanly to the waitstaff than making me comfortable. Remember who you're trying to impress. A first date is like a pilot of a TV show. It determines whether there is going to be a second date and so on. All you have to do on the first date is just have fun, get to know each other. If you click, it's great. If you don't, so what? It's a first date. As a guy, no touching/kissing on a first date. If they are interested, women will try to touch your arm/hand. I never initiate touching because if you touch them and they pull away, it's game over. The most I'll ever do on a first date is touch their back as I guide them through a door and maybe a hug at the end of the night. Besides, I like to spend the first date getting to know them. When you're worried about kissing them or how much you can touch them, it's really distracting and turns into a mental tug of war. I like to alleviate that and just have fun and get to know them. Plus, it puts your date's mind at ease and they're not trying to play defense. I've found it's just better for everyone if you don't even think about it. Edit, gold? Thank you very much kind sir/madam. Much appreciated. As a female I really think this should be getting more notes. If we're into you, we will absolutely initiate touching. The best bet is going for a hug at the end of a date. If we want to kiss you we'll hold on and look up at you afterwards. Plus, limiting physical touching during the date will drive us wild if we're into you. Suspense and all that. Say to yourself before first date you are meeting a long-time best friend. And be yourself. No acting, trying to impress. You will be not awkward and you will have a lot of laugh and a good time. Worked with all of my GFs, my ex-wife, my new so. This is kind of my thing, but I like putting together first dates where we do some kind of activity. Of course it depends on a lot of factors, but I especially like dates where we do something with our hands. Plopping down when you first meet someone and trying to have an actual 2-hour conversation with someone is pretty difficult in any context, and so keeping your hands busy takes a lot of the edge off. You made it to the end. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications for more edit content. It's free and that's a great prize.